Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Matthew Dale here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at in-ear mixes. Now, playing a gig with in-ears can be a pretty different experience for a lot of us when we are first kind of diving into that world. But it's becoming more and more commonplace, so it'll be good to have a pretty good understanding of how to get an in-ear mix sounding good where you feel like you are a part of the band and you can play your best. Now, let's talk about a few core principles before we dive in. I'm going to have a couple of mixes that I'll pull up. One, a little bit more of like a cover band if you're going to be using in-ears. And then I've also got a mix for like a modern day worship band with a lot of tracks and stuff in it as well. So before we take a look at the mixes, let's talk about just a couple of core principles to mixing for in-ear monitors. One of the first principles to think about is when you're using in-ears, you still want to feel like you are a part of a band that's playing music. You don't want to have nothing but just your own instrument in your ears and just a little bit of everything else. That's generally not going to give you good results. And you would think that would be kind of self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised how many in-ear mixes I've listened to where it seems like it's mostly that performer and very little of anything else. On the subject of listening to yourself, and in my case, listening to my guitar going through the in-ear system, I want to have a really delicate balance between just enough and not too much of myself. That way I can still feel like I'm a dynamic performer in the band. If I'm too quiet in my in-ears, I'm not going to have a really decent reference of where I am in a mix, so I'm going to be probably overplaying a lot of stuff. Conversely, if I'm up too loud in my mix, I'm going to be backing off so I can hear more and hear like what the band is doing, and I'll be really timid to actually play anything on the instrument. So you want to fall within kind of that Goldilocks range. The second one being, you want to build up your in-ear mixes foundationally. I like to start with a really strong, good drum mix, add in bass from there, and then add in myself, and then the other instruments from there. So like piano or acoustic guitar or a second electric guitar, and then after that, then I'll add in the vocalists. Not that the other instruments or the vocalists are unimportant, I just want to get a really good foundational sound together in my ears before I add in that extra stuff. Another good tip that's a little bit more in line with like going through a modern worship in-ear mix is to not overload your ears with too much stuff too many instruments that would be redundant. So maybe on something like if you're playing with a track, you might have a piano part or a piano player, and then there's, an organ that's doing something very similar, and then maybe, keys 3 and keys 4 and all these excess tracks that are really doing something similar. They're just adding their own texture. Same thing with, excess guitar parts that might be in a track. They're really only adding extra texture, and you don't want to bog your ears down with all of that stuff. Keep it as much as you can to a minimum, and then add in things from there for the seasoning on top of your mix. So let's go ahead and head over to the DAW, and let's get listening to some stuff. Okay, so here we are in my DAW software, and I'm going to be mixing from here. You guys are going to be hearing exactly what I am hearing in my in-ears, so you can get a sense of what I like and the concepts that I like to implement when mixing in-ears. So I've got a little bit of a cover of Take It Easy by the Eagles here that I put together. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to start foundational. I can hear my guitar. And I'm going to use that kind of as a reference point to build the other instruments around. So I mentioned that I like to have a really nice drum mix first. So let's start with some kick drum. And kick and snare are really going to be the timekeepers for me. That's really what I'm going to focus on first. I'm probably going to go a little bit heavier on the kick so I know that I'm playing in time. And that sounds pretty good. Let's try that. And let's bring the hi-hats in. Just a little bit. I really just kind of want to feel these. And then toms and overheads to taste. You can hear that ride cymbal coming in. In general, you can actually get a lot of drum sounds from just kick, snare, and overhead, but depending on how you're running your overheads, a lot of people shelve off a lot of the lows, so you really only hear the cymbals out of them. Where in that case you would really want to dial in your tom mics to taste. So I will be a little bit heavier on my toms in that case. And I think that sounds pretty good. Let's bring in our bass now. Again, going for those foundationals. Cool, that might be a little bit more bass than you might hear in like a front of house mix or in like a track mix. I really want these to be pretty prominent in my ears so that I am keeping track with everyone. Let's go ahead and bring in some piano and guitar now. So good. So I think I kind of like that. I'm kind of hovering over, my guitar is hovering over that stuff a little bit more. So I think I might just bring everyone up just a bit more. That way I know that when I put in my lead boost for the solo, I'll be jumping up over that. So bring everything up a little bit more, a little more acoustic. That should be pretty good. Let's go back to the beginning and listen to what we got. Good. Overall, I like that. Let's go ahead and bring in some vocals now. That's probably a decent amount for me for lead. Let's bring in the backgrounds.
Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound
I really just want to feel these. I don't want them cluttering up my mix so much.
Lighten up while you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just find a place to make your stand. Take it easy.
Cool. Now let's go ahead and go over to the second verse and into the solo. We'll see if my solo boost is doing its job that it should be.
Take it easy.
Okay, overall, I think that sounds pretty good. My solo boost might be a little bit hot, but I can dial that back into taste if I want that to be a little bit quieter. But it is doing the job of just putting me a little bit over the top of everyone for that solo. But the rhythm and the foundation is still there. The drum and bass are still there. Okay, now at first glance, I've got a lot more going on in this modern worship type thing, including a click track and a cue track. And then if we just take a look at what's going on down here, I've got another drum mix, drum, snare, hats, toms, overhead, same as before, bass, and then kind of like what I was alluding to earlier in this video, we've got piano, we've got other 1, 2, 3 other keys patches, acoustic guitar, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guitar tracks in here, and then I've got 3 vocal tracks, a lead and 2 backgrounds. So there's a lot going on. Same principles, but this time we're also going to have the click and cue track to deal with as well. Okay, so real quick, this is a really good example of an in-ear mix that you do not want.
Chorus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So you can kind of hear the band in there, but it's mostly click, cue, and yourself, in my case, guitar. But again, that is not what I want in a mix. I'm surprised at how often I hear people do this. Now, that might not be a bad idea if you are practicing. If you want to get really good at practicing the form or practicing along with the click, that's good. But remember, when we're performing, we're not practicing, and you are performing with a band, so you need to be a part of that band. So let's start this back up and let's get this mix sounding right. I am going to start with a little bit of our click. I just want enough where I can feel this just to know if I'm on or off the click. And let's get some cues in here. Let me back up so I can hear my cues.
Chorus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think that should be enough there. I might adjust that later on, but let's get some drums going.
Chorus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chorus.
That sounds pretty good. Let's hear some bass. And I'm gonna loop my chorus here.
Chorus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Might have a little bit too much hat. There we go. Let's hear some piano. And acoustic guitar.
Chorus.
Now there's my foundation. Let's hear what this sounds like with me, the guitar player. So I'm pretty up. I'm gonna raise all of these guys. I could just bring myself down in the mix, but for the sake of using the DAW here, I'm just gonna bring everything up. I could go up a little more. Let's hear the second chorus. Okay, I think that's sounding pretty good. And now let's go ahead and I'm just going to show you what the other instruments are doing. I don't necessarily need these in my ears, but it's good to know that they are there, I guess.
Chorus 2, 3,
Here's
4,
the
5, 6.
other keys. Right, so it's really just kind of copying the piano part. I might put a little bit of that in there. Just a hint of the organ. That synth lead is the same thing that I would be playing, so I can put that real far down. No, don't need that. Let's also talk about tracks when you are a part of a modern worship team. More often than not, if you are a guitar player, there will be other guitar tracks in the tracks. Now, I don't like to play with these, and I definitely don't like to have these in my ears. I want musicians in my ears. I really don't want a lot of track in my ears. Sometimes I add it in just a little bit, but I'm focusing more on the musicians. So in that scenario, I've got all of these other guitar parts that are in here. So listen to this. I've got this ambient guitar track. This really isn't going to do much for my monitoring. It's just going to kind of clutter up my monitor. So I'm going to have that pretty low. There's always kind of an obligatory, tremolo picking part like this. I don't need this anywhere near my mix. So we're going to back that down. I'm not even going to put any of that in. Here's one of the guitar parts, the clean guitar part. That's going to be what I'm playing. I don't want it to confuse me, so let's back that down. And here's the lead part. Again, that's going to be what I'm playing, so I'm not going to have any of that in there. So let's hear this through the verse and chorus, see how my guitar is fitting in the mix. Okay, overall, I think that's sounding pretty good. I might just take my guitar down just a wee bit. That way I'm not too far over everyone else in the mix. Let's get some vocals in here.
Would welcome me. I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love.
And let's bring in some backups here. We'll hear them on the chorus.
His love for me. Ooh, the sun sets free. Oh, is free.
Just want to feel these. I could probably do a little bit more Q.
Child of God. Yes, I am.
Let's play along a little bit. Chorus.
In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Sets free, always free indeed.
I'm going to do a little bit more of the lead
I'm
vocal.
a child of God. Yes, I am.
Chorus.
In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. God sets free. Oh, is free indeed. I'm a child.
Maybe just a skosh more acoustic and piano.
Yes, I am.
Chorus.
In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. God sets free.
And that sounds pretty good in my ears. I hear myself clearly. I'm not overbearing. I got a good foundation with drum and bass. I can hear the lead vocalist to make sure that, you know, we've probably all been in that position before where the vocalist might extend and go to another chorus or, you know, jump the gun a little bit. It's good to have a really good representation of the lead vocal in our ears. And I've also got the other instruments in there, so I feel like I'm playing along with the band. Okay, so I hope you guys found that helpful and it gives you a really good idea for setting up your own in-ear mix. If you like content like this, feel free to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you want to see some more. My name is Matthew Dale. Remember, play better, sound great, and understand more. And I'll see you on the next video.